Did you know that porn helped shape the film industry? Let's talk about it. We've been talking a lot about Netflix lately and how it's changed the film industry and how it's changing release windows and how it changed the way that movies make money. But what if I told you another industry has been quietly steering those decisions for decades? From the horny, naked shadows, one might say. While everyone was focused on prestige films and blockbuster openings, adult content was in the background making very practical decisions, quietly deciding which formats survived, which ones died, and how fast audiences expect to access content. You might think it's all about people doing it on camera, but the real story is in the infrastructure and payment systems, distribution, convenience, because whether people like it or not, adult content has played a surprisingly influential role in how the film industry distributes and monetizes media. If you grew up in the VHS era, you remember the layout of the video store. New releases right up front, family films along the wall, and then somewhere in the back, after a very intentional turn, behind a curtain that somehow squeaked every single time it was moved, was the adult section. That back room wasn't a novelty, it was a reliable business, okay? Adult rentals were consistent, high margin, and didn't depend on opening weekends or expensive marketing campaigns. For a lot of independent video stores, that section quietly helped keep the lights on. You'd rent a movie for the night, and maybe something else for later. One trip, two rentals, different purposes. Everyone went home happy. Economically speaking, both always resulted in late fees because you never got them back on time. This influence shows up even earlier if you look at format wars. In the late 1970s, home video wasn't settled yet. Studios had two options, Betamax and VHS. Betamax had better picture quality, but shorter recording times and tighter corporate control. VHS was cheaper, could record longer, and came with fewer restrictions. Adult producers overwhelmingly chose VHS, not because it looked better, but because it worked better. Longer runtimes mattered, lower costs mattered, and fewer gatekeepers mattered. Adult content didn't single-handedly kill Betamax, but it definitely helped VHS pull ahead by flooding households with VHS-only content. The lesson here is simple and timeless. The best technology doesn't always win. The most usable one does. And the same thing happened again when VHS gave way to optical media. Laserdisc looked incredible, especially if you were a film nerd, but those discs were the size of vinyl records. Great for a Criterion shelf, but not exactly discreet when you're trying to have a private movie night and you have to slide out what looks like a flying saucer, okay? DVDs were cheap to press, easy to ship, easy to store discreetly, and perfect for mail order and subscription models. Adult content skipped Laserdisc almost entirely and went all in on DVD, not because DVDs were cooler, but because they scaled. Laserdisc was a collector's format. DVD was a business format. Then came the internet, and this is where the parallels to modern streaming get impossible to ignore. Before Netflix, adult platforms were already running subscription models, processing credit cards, optimizing streaming video, managing massive content libraries, and experimenting with recommendation systems. The reason you can search film genres to find the perfect film to stream for movie night is because before that, people were searching for kinks. They had to solve problems early and that mainstream entertainment wouldn't tackle until later. So how do you stream video smoothly? How do you bill monthly? How do you keep people subscribed? Netflix didn't invent these systems, they normalized them. Adult platforms proved that the technology worked. Netflix just put a little bit of a nicer logo on it. Streaming didn't just hurt video rental stores, it eliminated physical inventory, removed geographical limits, and collapsed the idea of waiting. Adult content moved online faster because privacy favored home viewing and direct-to-customer access removed friction. By the time Netflix mailed the last red envelope, audiences had already been trained to expect immediate access, infinite choices, and on-demand viewing. Once those expectations exist, there's no putting the genie back in the bottle, or back behind the video store curtain. This isn't about taste or morality, it's about behavior. Adult content helped normalize subscription models, constant availability, and shorter content lifestyles. Those expectations didn't stay confined to one corner of the internet because they became the default across all entertainment. Studios, streamers, and audiences all inherited that mindset, which is why modern-day conversations about shrinking release windows or changing distribution models didn't come out of nowhere. The tools were tested quietly in the name of after-hours entertainment, scaled aggressively, and eventually adopted everywhere else. The history of film technology isn't just written by studios and filmmakers, it's written by whoever adopts a new tool first at scale and teaches audiences how to use them. Sometimes that influence comes dressed in prestige, and sometimes it's naked. Either way, the impact is real, and that's Reelconomy. Follow us, we talk about movies and how they really work.